So there's a lot of talk these days about supervising the different generations. And we have a younger generation. We've talked a lot about some of the qualities that they have, some of the challenges that they have. But from what I'm hearing you talk about your success and your experience, really nothing has changed in particular. You're still focused on the same things that you've been focused on for 40 years, not only to try and lead these folks, but to get them to that peak performance piece. Is that correct?
Yeah, very much so. Then I think there's all kinds of way to get to peak performance. In the athletic world, we're talking about physical training, weight training, conditioning, developing the body. But more importantly, we've learned over time, we have to develop the mind.
Sure.
You know, back when I was a kid, it was, I can still remember working on the cars with my dad, and I hold the wrench. You do what I tell you, I'm doing the work.
Or the light, right?
Yeah, you're spot on. That's exactly how it was. And then you learn by watching, you know, and I don't think that is necessarily applicable today. I think we got to be more hands-on. Our kids got to be more engaged, and through that engagement, we can get them to see things that can benefit them. The kids are more inquisitive today. The amount of knowledge they have in front of them is at a higher level. So you can't just say, do this because I said do this. I've changed my style a little bit, and even with my coaches, I spend a lot of time coaching coaches that don't just say do it because I said do it. Why do we do this? When we're talking about a linebacker fit, why are we fitting in the A gap versus the B gap? Don't just say do it because I said do it, because I think they want to know why. And I also think by telling them more why and giving that knowledge to them, we give them a sense of ownership.
Sure.
And I think that's imperative, that they feel like they have a voice, like their voice to be heard is important, not just to them but to us.
Yeah.
You know, and as a leader of a team or a leader of an athletic department, because I've been the AD, all that's in. So when I sit down in a staff meeting, just a staff meeting with the assistant ADs, our administrative assistants, it's not here's what we're going to do. How do we just had a meeting this morning when I came over, because we've got a coaching change we need to get taken care of. Somebody resigned, and we need to get some things taken care of. And what are we looking for? What kind of person do we need in this position? What's our team lacking? And I didn't even ask, can they coach this sport? It's, can they do these things?
Right.
Because those things will help the ultimate end-all, be-all of what we're trying to accomplish, which is get them to another level. I'm not talking about athletic level, but another level personally and professionally.
Yeah, so you're looking for the transferable skills, the right mindset, the right personality that's going to connect with them and figure out where their gaps are and help them fill them.
Right, and their gaps. Everybody's got gaps, whether it be social gaps, physical gaps, mental gaps. How do we get that through to them? And that's when you're a coach, you're always trying to figure out. And again, in all my years of coaching, but I'm always trying to figure out a way to get them to be better than they were before, athletically. Yeah. Well, sometimes that means after practice, I have a talk. We go meet one-on-one. We just go talk. You know, you alluded to the fact that sometimes when we were talking prior to going on the air here, I was talking with some of your people in the lab, and they were talking about sometimes they go into a house at 9 o'clock at night, and they got to replace a heater. They're freezing. They're irritable. The kids haven't been able to go to bed. How do they handle that stress? Well, it's the same thing in athletics. How do we get them to handle the stress of a game? And sometimes we have to realize that the people we're working with, that there may be something else that's causing them to be irritable. All right? A kid comes to practice and he's having a bad practice, and the coach is just laying into him. You're not working hard. You don't care. Did you ask him? Maybe somebody passed away. Maybe they didn't eat the night before. In Wayne Township, I started a food bank for the football team, because we found out our kids weren't eating at night. Give you a really good example. Coach Allen, who used to be the head football coach at IU, he's now at Clemson. He's the coordinator at Clemson. We did an in-home visit one day, and we're going to the house because the kid's not been showing up, and we thought we were going into a house that was like our house. And that's a bad assumption when you assume that people are like us. All right? I'm not saying
that's
we're
our frame
right.
of reference, right?
But that's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And so we just assume, so we go knocking on the door and we're going to have a meeting with the parents to try to get them to understand that the young man needs to stay after school. We got and we go in there and we sit on the furniture. Well, the furniture is 2 lawn chairs. There is no furniture in the house. And we're like, all of a sudden the lights on are going, we're in a situation here where they need a lot of help. Find out they're not sleeping in beds, they're sleeping in sleeping bags on the floor. So we needed to make a change, and so we did, and that's what got us thinking we need to make a change in how we feed our kids and making sure, and because until their mind is not right, okay, the worker, whoever it is, it's tough to get them to understand what the expectation is. And so to get to peak performance, the mind's got to be healthy, the body's got to be healthy, and I got to feel good about myself. We deal with a lot of kids that have low self-esteem, because when they go home at night, they're not succeeding at school, and when they go home at night, the parents are not either there or they're not talking to them in a way that's helpful or healthy.
Sure.
They're talking to them in a way that's very unhealthy, and as we find out, they yell at them, and you see it in basketball games. And I was just at a basketball game Friday night, and the dad is just going ballistic on his kid, and the kid is trying hard. He's not out there saying, I want to lose. He's out there wanting to win.
Right.
And you go over there and just calm down, be positive. And always talk to the parents about positive reinforcement. When you get in the car and you picked your kid up from the game and it didn't go well, what do you say to them? The first thing, why do you make this play? Or why didn't the coach do that? Why don't you say, hey, you good? You good? And when you're walking around your place of employment and you ask a person, how are you doing? Stop and really ask them, tell me how you do. How's your sons? How's your daughters? How's your wife? Because that goes a long way. I worked with a person at Ben Davis for 18 years, and he asked me one time, he goes, how do you do it? I said, how do I do what? He goes, I ask you how your family is, and you immediately flip it to my family. I said, because I want to know more about you, because I know that makes you feel better. And when you feel better, you're better. You're a better worker
whole.
for me. You're whole. Perfect word for it. You're whole. And we forget that because we get so caught up in the end game. For me, it's winning the game on Friday night. For you, it's in a corporation, it's the dollar. It's the net income. As an accountant, I know I always had to produce that net income and what's that statement look like at the end of each month. I get that, but what I did learn when I started caring more about the kids than I did about the outcome of the game, the winning took care of itself. Because the kids knew I loved them, they knew I cared about them, and that was more important. And then they went out and played harder. Just like in the workforce, if they know you care, they'll work harder for you in the process.
Well, and then that makes the supervisor's job so much easier, right?
Without question.
Because
the problems go away. Your problems go away. Or they come to you with the problems and you can solve the problems or help them solve the problems so they become more productive. And so it does help that.
Yeah, that whole piece, we talk a lot about that. And I've been teaching this program for several years, and a lot of people, 2, 3, 6 months down the road come back and they say, well, I'm really using this stuff at home and it's working great. I just haven't got to be able to use it at work yet. And I say, that's awesome. And they look at me like I'm an alien, and they say, why? And it's about that piece. If you're a whole as a person and you don't have the distractions, the drama, the nonsense going on up here, when you're here, I get you whole as an employee.
That's right.
And if you're whole as an employee, that's half the battle. I can coach you and help you as long as you have the basic skill sets, get to where you need on the technical stuff.
Right.
But if you're showing up with voids as a person, then that's way harder to do.
Right, and you can't operate at peak performance. You can't. It's impossible.
You'll never get there.
You'll never get there. You may do your job. It may be adequate, but it's not what you're capable of. And what you're capable of is what we're always trying to get you to. And being whole, feeling good about yourself, positive self-esteem, positive talk, it all helps in that process.
So as now you're going into retirement, semi-retirement. When you told me retirement, I knew you weren't going to really retire because you can't sit still. Going into this and kind of like winding down, looking back on things, is there anything that sticks out to where you just walked away and felt like, and I know you've got tons of stories, so it's probably going to take you just a minute to figure out which one you'd like to share, where you're like, as a team, you and your coaches, we really came together with this one, and it's like if we look up the word impact in the dictionary, right, or we had to give a testimonial of it, like that would be it for you and your experience over the years.
I'm going to go back to 2014. I'm just going to use a team.
Sure.
We were a good football team, but we were struggling, and there were a couple things that happened during that year. We ultimately, in the end, won the whole thing. All right, but we weren't on that track. There was a game we were playing on a Friday night up at Carmel, or I had messed up. I'm really good about planning for the weather.
Yeah.
And we saw that there was a chance of rain, but what I didn't pay attention was not only the rain, but there was a cold front going to come through. Okay. So we're warming up. It's 68 degrees. Feels good. No wind, no rain. We're in just our shirts. We warm up. We go back in the locker room. We come out after the warm up, and the rain is hit. The wind's about 30 miles an hour, and the temperature's dropping really fast. Well, the team on the other sidelines in parkas, all nice and dry. We're now soaked and shivering.
Yeah.
And the team self-destructed. We gave up 500 yards rushing that night, and one game got murdered. Yeah. Got beat 37-14, and it wasn't even that close. And we were not. The team turned on each other. The coaches, that Sunday meeting, the coaches meeting was brutal. Yeah. And they're we don't have this, and you're not. And I let everybody vent. I let all the coaches in that room vent. I let them all have their say, and then I calmly stood up and said, all right, now, we're all done. We're all mad. What do we got to do to fix it? And I said, I'm not even talking about scheme. I don't care about your offense, and I don't care about your defense. Yeah. Because our kids have turned on each other, and our kids have turned on us. How do we fix that? And there was an older coach on my staff, Chuck, who's good as gold. I mean, been a multi-state champion coach himself. His son was one of my assistants, and he started talking me through it. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to do here. This is how we need to approach this. And we started making notes. And then that week, we're still in the regular season. We're getting ready to play another really good team on Friday night, and we don't play any better. We win, but we don't play any better. Yeah. And he pulls me off to the side, and he says, we're okay. That word right there meant everything to me because I didn't think we were okay. Yeah. We won, but my head's down. He goes, we're okay. Let them know they're okay. And I thought to myself, you're right. Because my body language is telling them I'm not okay. Yeah. I'm not okay. Well, then the next week we win a couple blowouts. We're in the tournament, and we win 2 games that we shouldn't have won. Yeah. We're in the state finals. We're playing the team that rushed for 500 yards on us. And all week, he just kept reminding me, tell your kids they're okay. They have to believe in what we're doing. He goes, it may not work on Saturday. We played on a Saturday. It may not work. Yeah. We may not win, but they got to believe. Just like kids, just like the people in the corporation got to believe in the mission statement of your corporation. Sure. They got to believe it. Yeah. And you got to live that mission statement. As the executive, as the president, as the owner, you got to live your mission. And so we just kept pounding into them. Story goes, we get down to the state finals. We're down 17-0, 8 seconds into the second quarter. I get on the headset. I get on the headset. I tell all the coaches, get on the same frequency. And I said, we're going to be okay. Coach your kids, not the scoreboard. Just coach them. And I can still hear the older coach in my head, Chuck, in my headset go, we're okay. He just keeps pounding it in me. Yeah. We score the next 42 points. And we win the state championship. And I look back at that and I thought, that voice in my head, that coach in my head, constantly reminding us that things are okay.
Yeah.
And me reminding kids that we're in a positive manner, that things are going to work out. We sometimes get beat down because things don't go the way we want them to go. And we got to remind ourselves that we got to stay the course, and we got to find a way to be successful and move forward and love each other and hug each other. And in the end, things will be okay.
So you were focused on, I don't care what the score is, we're going back to
The process.
Fundamentals. We're going to block and tackle, right? Meat and potatoes.
I would stop focusing on the outcome and focus on the process. And you got to remind yourself, because you get so caught up in making the sale and making this work and getting this delivery and getting these the things out on time and meeting the demands of our customers, that we forget that the process will get us there.
It's the little things that we've done over and over and over again that we're not focusing on. Right. But those
I'm going to share one more with you. We were at a game in 2017. We're the number 8th or 9th ranked team in the country. We're really good. We know it. Everybody knows it. And we're playing like we really know it, because we're playing awful. We're really good, and this team's just supposed to lay down. And we're getting beat with 1:44 to go in the game. This team has the ball on our 20, getting ready to score. We're down 4, so the game's it looks over and lightning hits. All right, we pause the game till the next day. We come back at 10 a.m. to play the last 1:44. I stayed in the locker room that night, washed all their jerseys, all their pants. So when they came in the next morning, they're all hanging up, all nice and clean. And the older gentleman I was referring to in 2014 comes up to me and says, "Here's how you're going to win today. You're going to go out and tell these kids that this is going to be the best 1:44 of their lives. Win or lose, doesn't matter. You're going to play the best 1:44 of your lives." So we get on the bus, it's raining. We get to the game, it's raining. The other team comes out, does some jumping jacks, they go back in to stay dry. We warm up like it's game day. We're on fire. Our coaches are running around like we're all crazy. Kids are warming up. We're going through an entire pregame warm-up. We get out there, the other team has the ball. They throw the ball, kid drops it. He's wide open for a touchdown, he drops the ball. That would have ended the game. They go for it on 4th down, don't get it. We got to go 80 yards in a minute. With 7 seconds.
1 minute drill,
in
not
1
2.
minute. We're doing this down the field. We get a guy open. The quarterback doesn't throw it to the right guy. Our OC throws his headset. Throw it to Evans. Evans is with the Bengals now. He's a phenomenal football player. We run the exact same play. He throws it to Evans in the back of the end zone. He goes up and catches it, and we win it. And those kids are all running around going, "Best 1:44 of our lives." We made them believe. All right, we made them believe they could go out and do something that probably wasn't, in most cases, doable. But the coaches believed, so the players believed. So if your corporate head honchos, your presidents, if they believe, your people in the warehouse believe, and in the factories believe, because the mission is yours. You've sold it, you believe it, and you live it. And when you do that, great things happen to all corporations, all companies, all businesses, all teams.
I show a video in Foundation from a professor who's given a commencement speech, and one of the things he says is, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, either way you're right.
You're right.
And I think you just summed it up there.
No, there's absolutely, and he is right. You're right.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I could sit here all day with you, but I'm going to be respectful to your time.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
I appreciate it.
We really appreciate having you. I'm sure we're going to have you back now. Maybe you have a little bit more free time moving forward. Maybe even have you come out and speak to some of our folks in the future. So.
I'd love to.
Awesome. All right.
Awesome.
Till next time.